Let me just start by saying something simple. There are moments in life where you don't need advice, you don't need motivation, you don't need another quote telling you to keep going. You just need distance. Distance from people, distance from noise, distance from everything that keeps pulling you outside of yourself. Because sometimes the problem is not that your life is falling apart, it's that too many things are happening at the same time, and you can't even hear your own thoughts anymore. And that is usually where the idea comes in. I need to disappear for a while. Not in a dramatic way and not in a quitting life kind of way. Just stepping back, taking yourself out of circulation for a bit. And the funny thing is, most people will misunderstand that. They'll think you're running away. But if you've ever been really tired in life, know that there's a type of tiredness that is not solved by staying in the same environment. You can't heal in the same place that keeps reopening the wounds. So you start noticing it. You wake up and your first instinct is not excitement, it's noise. Phone, messages, scrolling, comparing, checking what everybody else is doing so you can measure your life against it. But without even realizing it, your mind becomes crowded. Not busy, crowded. There's a difference. Busy means you're working. Crowded means you are lost inside your own head. And that's where something dangerous starts happening. You stop thinking for yourself. You start reacting to everything. You don't even know what you usually want anymore. You just know what looks acceptable, what looks successful, what looks like you're doing well. But inside, you're not sure. Inside, you feel like you're just moving in circles. And that feeling is quiet but heavy. Now, here is where disappearing comes in. Because disappearing is not really about leaving your life, it's about removing interference. It's about getting far enough from everything that you can finally hear yourself again. Let me say it in a simpler way. Sometimes you don't need more input, you need less noise. Because when everything is loud, even your own voice starts to sound wrong. You start doubting your instinct, you start second guessing your decision, you start needing validation before you move. And that is not how a strong life is built. So there usually comes a point where life forces you into a kind of quiet season, even if you don't choose it. Maybe things slow down, maybe people drift away, maybe opportunities don't come as fast as before, maybe you just feel unseen, and instead of panicking about it, you start to realize something. This might actually be space. Space you didn't ask for, but space you truly need. Because if you are always surrounded by noise, you never get to meet yourself properly. And that meeting is important because there's who you are when people are watching, and there's who you are when nobody's watching. And those two versions are not always the same. Now, let me talk about something most people don't like to admit. A lot of the stress you feel is not because your life is hard, it's because you are constantly performing, even where you don't realize it. You're performing success, performing confidence, performing I'm okay, even when you're not. And that performance is exhausting because you are always managing perception, always trying to make sure nobody thinks you are behind, always trying to look like you're not struggling. But the truth is, nobody builds a real life while performing for everyone at the same time. At some point, you have to stop performing. And that's where the disappearing begins. You don't announce it, you don't explain it, you just quietly start removing things. Less talking, less explaining, less proving, more thinking, more building, more being honest with yourself. And at first, it feels uncomfortable because silence is not neutral. Silence confronts you. When everything is quiet, your thought becomes louder. The thing you ignore start coming back. The decision you avoid start appearing again. The goal you postpone start looking at you like, so what now? And that is where a lot of people quit the process because they thought disappearing would feel peaceful immediately. But at the beginning, it doesn't. At the beginning, it feels like confrontation, like you're finally sitting with yourself without distraction. And that can feel very heavy. But also where change starts. But for the first time, you are not reacting, you're observing, you're noticing patterns, you're realizing things like, I kept repeating the same mistake. I keep choosing comfort over growth. I kept going back to things that don't serve me. And once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. That is the beginning of becoming someone else. Not the loud kind of change, the quiet kind. The kind nobody notices at first. The kind that happens when you are alone. So when people say you need to disappear for a while, it's not about becoming invisible forever. It's about becoming unavailable to distraction long enough to rebuild your attention, because your attention is your life. What you focus on is what you become. And if your attention is scattered across everything and everyone, then your life will feel scattered too. So maybe the first step is not doing more. Maybe the first step is stepping back, not to escape life, but to finally start living it with intention.